What's up, everybody? Thanks for tapping in with your boy, Savage Studios. Much love, much respect every time you rock with your boy. Man, it is about damn time. Y'all already know how I feel about Tehachapi State Prison, especially now. Last time I slid through there, it was 2016 or so. By far, the most eerie prison I've ever been to, for one reason. Damn sure not because of paranormal activity. Damn sure not because of the violence by inmates. I'm fine with that. I was always fine with that. I could always deal with that and understand that that's prison. It was the COs. Now, I've done a video on the Greenwall gang, which is a gang of COs, consisting of COs created by COs, a code of silence, a family, a brotherhood, sisterhood, everything. I've always said it was in Tehachapi. Now I got proof. A whole lot of proof. In fact, so much proof that I cannot release all of it because I gave somebody my word. As much as I want to release everything and say everything and the names and everything, I'm going to do the best I can to give you guys the juicy cup of tea while protecting this person. Okay. First and foremost, I want to say that at the end of this video, all the real pictures of this incident will be included in the video. Those who make it to the end of the video see the pictures and will have a better understanding of what's really happening in prison. So yeah, man, after, going over everything that was given to me in confidence, it brought back so many flashbacks, y'all. It brought back so many flashbacks because I literally lived this. I went through this. I try to explain this to y'all. And I know that the first thing that pops out of a lot of y'all mouth is, well, quit crying or quit bitching because a lot of third world countries are 10 times worse. And you're right. You're not wrong. But this is America. This is America, man. This is not how things go down. It's not how they're supposed to go down, man. We hold ourselves to a higher level of civilization, being civilized. And what happened to this inmate is what's been happening to plenty other inmates for such a long time, especially in Tehachapi. Now, the bad part is when this happens, and the inmate loses this bad, suffers this bad, the part that people don't mention is that he's slapped with the case. He's slapped with charges of assault on staff, attacking a staff, battery on staff, because they're going to lie, not only to protect themselves, but to also make sure they solidify screwing this inmate over. So before we begin, we're going to get into the beginning of all this. These inmates came from a transfer from a different prison. For whatever reason, ended up pepper sprayed and thrown in cells. Pepper sprayed and thrown in cells. Anybody who's been pepper sprayed, really pepper sprayed in prison, none of that juvenile hall pepper spray, none of that other stuff. Just really pepper sprayed in prison, you know what it does to your skin, you know what it does to your respiratory system, and you know what it does to your state of mind, because it'll get into your brain that you're having an asthma attack if you have asthma. It'll get into your brain that you're about to die if you're not strong-minded and you can't take it. So these inmates are all sitting here pepper sprayed up for whatever reason, whether they were being dicks on the bus or they got pepper sprayed on the bus because the CO driving the bus was being a dick, which they always are. They was pepper sprayed and they was trying to just be rehoused. So they wanted to be rehoused, and for whatever reason they couldn't. The sergeant on ham probably could have okayed it, probably chose not to. So from what I was told, inmate finally gets his chance, comes out, finally gets his chance and takes off on sergeant, right? Now, I got a lot of homies in Tehachapi right now who told me the whole story, especially word straight from some of the inmates who actually witnessed it. And the sergeant that we're talking about is a sergeant that I had run-ins with. You see, when I left Tehachapi, I knew right away that I did not get along with them. I was in the hole. But I knew that I had to get out of there. They were trying to keep me there. They didn't want me to leave. I knew that the walls were closing in and they was going to try something to me in the hole. So this sergeant, I've already dealt with this dude, and he's a poster boy for being a straight bitch. He's all tatted up, all the way up to his chin, like he's a real gangster, like he's really about that life, like he's really looking like a cholo. Got the little, little mustache whip, like he's really with that life. And so what does he do? He exercises all of his muscle, all of his strength, all of his energy to be the worst person he possibly can be to any inmate who he crosses paths with. I don't know how he was hired. I don't understand the hiring process for correctional officers. So what I was told is inmate sees Ruiz, goes off, and just takes off on him. Whether the inmates had that decided, that pact in their head that the first one with action to do it would do it or not, that's what ended up happening. So, of course, most COs, I'd say 9 out of 10 of them, yeah, that's right, 9 out of 10 of them, cannot take a fair beatdown, will not take an ass whooping. They will jump you, beat you, and falsify paperwork on you, especially if they lose. Good luck to you, buddy. The pictures that you will see will depict what happened to this inmate. He was shot in the head, point blank, with a block gun, the 40mm block gun. I've been shot with the block gun. I understand the pain of I've been shot by the block gun from the tower. So it wasn't the furthest distance, but it's still a good enough distance to hurt. When someone's shot with the block gun, you will, off top, you're going to have this big, huge bruise. No matter if they shoot you from across the day room, from the top. People have died from block guns, shot to the head. It packs a very hard punch. I'll say that much. Do your homework, do your studies on what the block gun is. The 40mm non-lethal rounds. They hurt. They can break jaws, they can break in your teeth, they can collapse your eye bone, they can do all kinds of stuff, man. They can really mess you up. He was shot point blank with this block gun. Big old rubber round. Really, really painful. Shot point blank. He was beaten with batons all over his body. All over his legs, his knees, his feet, his hands, his head, his back, his chest, collarbone. Everything you can think, any part of his body, he was hit with these batons. I've also been hit with these batons, so I understand the pain that these batons deal to you. It's not the old school big fat, batons that they used to carry, them billy clubs. Those was bad too. These are the skinny little ones that they whip out, whoosh, and it comes out. And man, are they heavy. They do not look, the look of them doesn't match up to what they feel like and how much of a blow that they actually deliver. It's such a painful blow, and he received so many of them. He was dragged by his feet all over these corridors, all over these sally ports, blood everywhere. He was put in a stand-up cage. We're talking a stand-up cage is a stand-up cage. That means it's a cage meant for you to stand up, not sit. He was thrown in this cage after the beatings, after the assault, after the attack. A wall was formed around what was happening, like it always is in Tehachapi, because everyone understood that a code of silence would take place. Every single officer that I found out was involved in this matter, I happen to know of. I happen to have either been in the block, been in the hole when they were working, had some kind of dealing with them, whether it was short-term, long-term, still some kind of dealing with them. It never was good. It never was pleasant. It never was fair. It never was just or nothing. And that's fine. A convict is a convict, an inmate is an inmate, civilian is a civilian, and a peace officer is a peace officer, right? So what do you do when a peace officer becomes a gang member? What do you do when a peace officer pushes and promotes everyone that's working around him to truly embody and believe the fact that every inmate is a piece of shit? Now one of them officers is actually a prisoner himself. Not for the event, not for the incident that I'm speaking on. One of these officers was actually killed not too soon after this incident. Don't laugh. He was killed at the hands of one of his own co-workers. another CO that works with him or worked with him. You see, the officer involved, he ended up dying. The one that's in jail now or in prison now, I don't know if he was involved to the other incident, but I do know that the one who was killed was involved in the other incident. What do you call that? Do you call that karma? What goes around comes around? What are we supposed to do? Do we laugh now? Do all inmates laugh and say, hey, good, that's what he gets for being a crooked CO and doing that? Hey, man, what goes around comes around. I do believe that. But what I believe in more is in change. This Greenwall gang, every CO that was involved in this incident that I'm going to show you the pictures to was fired, except for I believe one or two or three. I'm not sure, but I know a lot of these COs were fired. That coward of a Sergeant Ruiz, remember, he's all heavily tattooed. And anyone who's watching this that has any family members in Nevada, prison system, corrections, let them know. This coward quit. The main aggressor, the main attacker, the main person who was involved, started it all, made sure to reach out to everyone after the incident, try to get everything all in order, ended up quitting before he could be fired. This thing was a case that eventually, was investigated and went to, district attorney. For whatever reason, wasn't picked up. Hey, no surprise there. Don't peace officers usually work with district attorneys? It's all one hand washes the other here, which is why you probably won't see any change come of anything. But I have to expose one, Sergeant Ruiz, who now, after I did some research of my own, I was able to find out became a correctional officer in Nevada. Whether they know of his history, whether he brought it up, or whether it just hasn't caught up yet, is ridiculous. He's heavily tattooed all the way up to the chin. He sports a mustache as if, he's one of them old school gangsters, slicks his hair back, and carries himself like a straight asshole. So like I said, anybody in Nevada corrections that knows of him, watch yourself. Watch yourself. Whether you're a nurse, a CO, a sergeant, a captain, a lieutenant. If you plan on doing your job honestly, this man will corrupt everyone he works around, including nurses, psych techs, or anybody else. He will make it to where they have no voice. He will squish out their voice, period. A few of the names that I know, I'm glad they're fired. I'm glad that whatever happened to him. But Tehachapi is a prison where this foul behavior has been slept on for way too long. No one does anything. No one cares. Everyone knows about it. Inmates get fed up and from time to time will stab, attack, or just start punching on COs or sergeants. It's never good enough, and it's never strong enough because it's a fight and a battle that they will always 100% of the time lose. When you see these pictures, you'll understand what I'm talking about. People think I try to amp it up. This is a level 4 180 prison that started off, it used to be the SHU, Security Housing Unit, A yard and B yard. They shut down the SHU and made it in to a level 4 180 yard. Now, the Greenwall is something that was claimed and represented by Mr. Ruiz, Sergeant Ruiz. I don't know what his position is anymore in Nevada Corrections, but they pushed the Greenwall agenda through and through. They pushed it. They pushed it so much that they started screwing nurses. They started screwing other COs. COs were screwing COs, and guess what ended up happening? The corrupt behavior ended up trickling back down to their own employees. When one of them was caught sleeping with the other one's wife, who also is a correctional officer. So what does the other officer come and do to the officer who was involved in the previous incident, being a dirtbag ass motherfucker? He comes back and he shoots up the house, lays down the CO, his coworker, shoots a couple rounds at his wife, because it said that they were separated, but They were still wife and husband. So I got the article to that actual, I got the link to that actual article. You can watch a video on the news. Has the shooting, it has a lot on it actually, but you can check it out for yourself. The officer who did the shooting was Rigoberto Sanchez. Rigoberto Sanchez. He is now a prisoner of California, CDCR. He was a piece of shit correctional officer, and whichever prison he lands in, like I said, his name is Rigoberto Sanchez. He is to be dealt the measure in which he dealt inmates as a correctional officer. If you ask me, that's only fair measures. That's due process, baby. That's what your ass got coming. The one who died, his name was Edwin Lima, I want to say. Last name Lima. He was involved in that last incident from what I was told by one of the homies. It's very well known. And what was his due measure? Because Rigoberto Sanchez wasn't involved in that other incident, but this guy was involved in it. You know what his due measure was? He died. He was killed. He was shot. Before he could get to his gun, he was shot. You see, these bitch-ass, coward-ass COs, they go everywhere with their guns. They want to be gang members. They want to treat inmates like pussies and pieces of crap. Of course. He just couldn't get to it fast enough, so his coworker killed him. The level of scandal that I was able to see in this matter, I cannot tell you all of it. All I can tell you is that you would not believe how deep it is. You would not believe how far these guys went to cover up their tracks after assaulting this inmate. After beating this inmate senseless, almost killing him, shooting him with a non-lethal round point blank, making it a lethal round. The measures that they went to try to cover it up and start lying. It's too much. It's just too much. I want you to know, guys, prisoners are in prison for a reason. Murderers, especially in a level 4 180, you have so many murderers. So you're right. You could be like any other CO and come in and write them off and call them pieces of shits. But that's not humane. There's no humanity in that. You see, there should be a vetting process for new people being hired. And if they look anything like Sergeant Ruiz, he had no business ever being hired, period. You can have your opinions, but no matter what, every prisoner is still somebody's brother, son, uncle, dad, etc. In human nature, people will always make mistakes. They did it in the caveman prehistoric days. They'll continue to do it. All through the Bible, they did it. Whichever way you choose to see life, it's been done. No one's perfect. Things happen. I'm not asking for prisoners or inmates to be treated like kings, to be even treated good. I'm just asking that they don't be treated bad, right? We're in America. We're in California. California. Supposedly the leaders of the consciously, socially aware and consciously aware people, the people who are more aware and in touch with their humane side of things, sensitivities are so high. Yet what goes on in Tehachapi State Prison doesn't matter to anybody, and it's okayed. And it's ever since the shoe shut down and it became yards, it's been the most deadliest prison, and it's a PC prison, protective custody prison. It's been the most violent as far as inmates go, and it's been the most violent as far as COs go. It's one big bucket, and people are shooting fish. Sometimes inmates do it to each other, but most of the time COs will do it to the inmates. Beat them, tear them down, charge them. Beat them, tear them down, charge them. Try to kill them. There's no cameras. There is no cameras in the spots where cameras should be, because if there was cameras in those spots, this would never have been happening. So I want to bring this to attention. I'm making this video with the sole intention to have a conversation started and to have a conversation take place with somebody. Now, I would love to meet up with people who can take this somewhere, maybe go to Congress with it. I know with all this virus stuff, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it's just the worst timing. But Tehachapi was already a deadly prison. I can't imagine what it's going to be like now if this virus infects Tehachapi. I can't imagine what's going to happen to these inmates who have loved ones, wives, children, etc. Cameras need to be installed, maybe even worn on vests or worn on their uniform, on their jumpsuits. They went through extreme measures. Bloody jumpsuits were even burned in this matter, you know, to hide, to keep everything anonymous. I can't respect that, you know. I can't accept that without saying something. Tehachapi, this impacts me directly. I went through this there, you know. I wasn't beat to the severity that this man was, but I can definitely see where some certain situations it could have happened to me. I was just fortunate. Doesn't mean it didn't happen to me at other prisons. Doesn't mean I didn't go through getting my ass whipped at a few different prisons. Oh, trust me, it happened. Even from the county jail on. I want officials in Tehachapi to know that I'm watching you. I want them to know that anyone that can communicate to me from Tehachapi, nurses, psych techs, inmates, that I'm asking them to. I want all of you captains, sergeants, and lieutenants in Tehachapi to understand one thing. I will expose you any chance I get. Any CO in California, any captain, any warden, anybody. I will go to extreme measures to expose you because I used to be in those prison cells, in the hole, on a yard. Now look at me. This is exactly where I knew I'd be. So I hope you guys like this video. For anyone of the faint of heart, guard your stomach. These pictures are very unsettling. This whole story gave me flashbacks. Real ones. This is what happens in Tehachapi, where there's no cameras. Where everyone has a code of silence. Everyone. Because inmates ain't humans, they're pieces of shit. Smash that like button if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You know the deal, you know the routine. I'm doing my best to bring you guys some real, raw, uncut shit. You won't receive this from anybody else in the state of California, no matter what you do, no matter what you say. This is inside. And I wish I could have said more and released more, but I have to protect the people who come to me. I'm coming for your ass, Tehachapi. And Sergeant Ruiz, once again, let's put it out there, tattooed up all the way to his chin, slicks back his hair, about 6 foot tall, works for corrections in Nevada. Quit his job when all this happened and moved quick to run. Maybe Nevada Corrections doesn't know, but anyone that knows anyone that works for Nevada Corrections, I'm sorry about that, period. Expose this dude, put him on blast, watch all your junior staff, anyone coming in, because this man is a monster and will corrupt the whole process. This man, they didn't care about anything and Tehachapi about lacing up their new recruits or nothing. It was shut up, take my orders, and listen to me as I bully my way through the whole department. That's what's going to happen anywhere he goes. Much love, much respect. It's your boy Savage. Savage the Don up out of this bitch. Doses.